Hello, welcome to this episode of Pixel Peepers, a podcast around DIY video and growing your brand with it. Here are your hosts, Nick and Shea. Say hello, Shea.
G'day, gang. Good to see you and hear you.
Today we have a really cool guest, Sarah Kenyon, a business coach based in Newcastle, Australia. Sarah's got a really cool approach when it comes to, well, all things business, I think, but when it comes to video, she's been really diving in and experimenting and kind of growing her voice with the use of video. So it's a really cool episode. I'm excited to jump in and let's talk to Sarah about all things video. Welcome, Sarah. Thanks for joining us. And for those who haven't heard who you are, what you do, can you give us a bit of a rundown as to yourself, your background?
How have you not heard about me? Oh.
I know. Shame on you, everyone.
So basically, I'm a creative business coach and I started my journey as a makeup artist originally. So I went through getting my diploma, starting up my business originally as a side hustle along with my personal assistant journey. And I worked with an incredible entrepreneurship facilitator. So I learned a lot there. And then I realized that I ended up loving business more so and could tell that a lot of the time with creatives, we have that passion and that drive, but we don't actually have the business acumen to go with it. So I ended up falling in love with the business process, and that's how I got started with this coaching journey and wanting to dive really deep into that and helping people, you know, develop these epic strategies so that they can create an impact and scale profitably with it.
Obviously, with that, you're an entrepreneurial type, and you're seeing what's happening at the moment. Are you seeing a shift with what's happening? I just kind of feel like the tide's going out, and people are realizing, they've now understood that Zoom is huge. They can use that for their business. They don't have to go get a coffee anymore and sit down. You can save time by going digital. Yeah,
100%. I think I've seen a lot of different shifts, because I think with anyone, when we first started into I won't say the word, but when we first started into what we're going through, a lot of people were in a really limbo phase. I think it didn't hit anyone very quickly. It was just kind of like, oh, so that means I can't do what I'm normally doing. And I think a lot of people really got overwhelmed very quickly because they soon realized that, oh, I can't actually go about my day how I used to be, and I may need to put steps in place that I have to pivot, and I don't know what that looks like. And very quickly people started cluing onto the fact that they can do things online, and that in order to survive and grow and get through, they did have to transition into that online space. And I think the learning curve was very quick for everyone. And for some people, it was more like, oh, I don't know how to do this. So they're obviously gone into research mode. And it was just this kind of, struggle to get everything online because things were moving that quick. And now we're in the phase where people have gone online, and there's definitely going to be a shift in businesses that realize that, oh, I've actually made another income stream for myself, or I actually like this type of business model that I've created. And now we're coming out of it. There's definitely going to be a shift in, are people going to remain online? Are they going to amplify what they've already created? And now that we can kind of hit the ground running again, people really have to start thinking about what they're going to be implementing into their own business, and whether, what they've learned, or the skills that they've learned, whether that's on Zoom, whether that's, making sure that their business is now online. How can they grow that and continue that now that we're hopefully going into the face-to-face type of things again?
Absolutely.
Cool.
So how has that applied to yourself and your business, do you think, Sarah? Can you give us an idea on previously, what has your kind of marketing strategy been? Are you an inbound person, an outbound person? What are you now looking at in this new world? I call it Armageddon. It's probably not that extreme, but it did.
I've called it the big pause.
Nice. I like it. It's less depressing than my explanation.
It's less depressing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, it's a limbo phase. That's what it is. And, people haven't stopped buying. People haven't stopped window shopping. Businesses may have had a pause, but they're still there. So I think, in terms of my marketing strategy, obviously it had to adapt because originally I was seeing clients face to face, and I felt that, that one-on-one connection was really prevalent, especially in, discovery meetings and getting to know that person a lot better than, being online. But obviously we had to adapt that. And I did find myself taking all my clients online, and we still had that connection. But that wouldn't have been able to happen without video, because it's fine to call someone over the phone, but unless you have that face-to-face connection, you're missing that human element. And I think that has been the catalyst of how the transition has happened a lot easier for me to create that continuous rapport with my clients and, clients that one-on-one board as well. In terms of marketing though, I'm always looking at inbound marketing, because obviously if you cast a net too wide, you're never going to catch the right people. So I'm always focusing on where that person is, really niching down. And we had a conversation about niching as well. But it's really getting clear on that person, because if you start marketing to hordes, then you're really missing the mark there. And it's really going to be hard to get the client that you really want, and the work that you do isn't going to flow as seamlessly. And, it's the only time I feel, I'm sure there are other times, but for me, when you do outbound marketing, it's really to test your product or service. It's to test whether or not that is going to work and who's actually going to bite. And then you can tweak the messaging to say, oh, okay, well, this category of people really like the product. Maybe that's where I go. But with inbound marketing, then you've got obviously the more seamless process of tailoring your message to that person and making sure that you're really clear with your messaging so that it speaks to that person. So I'm a big fan of inbound marketing, just because I think it amplifies your message already, and you're not wasting time. You're just like, this is what I've got to offer. This is a person I'm doing it for. Let's make it happen.
So with your video marketing, Sarah, so
yes.
what sort of stuff have you got there? I can see we were just saying before, we don't want you showing us up. You've got some cool headphones. You've got some a nice microphone. Have you found that you've actually started to branch out, buy more things heading towards video?
Definitely. Originally, the few videos I have on my website are all from my iPhone. And, I did those straight after I took that course. I was like, I've got no excuse now. So I was like, I've got to get this out. I've got to show Nick, Nick, tell me what I'm doing. And there's no excuse to not have something up there. And I knew that I needed to do it, but it was more like, I need all this fancy equipment and I need all this stuff. But in reality, you want to create that connection, you want to do it now, and you can always add on. And the camera I've got, not my iPhone, but I have done a video series before. And I did that on my, I don't know the fancy term. It's a camera. It's called a power shot.
Okay.
And I got it when I was 18. So
2 years ago.
I got it in 2012. Was it 2011 or 2012? Because I was going to Europe and I was like, I don't want a crappy camera. I'm going to buy a really good one. And at the time, being 18, I was like, this is the investment of my life. So I still have it and it works just as well. And that's the camera that I'm going to be using to produce a lot more video. Still with my camera, still not having the excuse of I need all this fancy gear, but definitely I have upgraded. I have got my camera out of the archives to be able to repurpose and reuse. Got the microphone, which I love because I have been doing a lot of podcasts and summits. And I invested in this thing on Amazon. It's like a tripod thing. They're fantastic.
Did a great
I
job.
didn't know the power of them.
Yeah.
Oh, it's called the Blitz Wolf. And it's got, so I've laid out everything for you. I'm like, this is what I've got. This is my inventory. And it's good because I was like, I don't have an excuse. I want to use my iPhone for something, but obviously it's hard to prop it up. So I was like, I just need to buy something cheap. And I think it was $30 or something off Amazon. Came really quickly, and it's got the remote control that I can be like, yeah, nah. And that's why like the video that I put out, it's just a whole bunch of bloopers because I was getting used to it, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. But it works.
Sounds like something you buy in an army disposal shop, like the Blitz Wolf.
A Blitz Wolf. Yeah, I know.
There's actually a cannon hidden inside. You haven't discovered yet.
Yeah. When you take it out, it's like ends up being a machete, and you're like, oh, hold on.
I think you make a great point. There's I think there's a lot of businesses out there thinking that they actually breathe a sigh of relief, thinking they need all these fancy cameras, and we can't afford it right now, so let's not do video. Right? There's
100%.
that kind of feel going on at the moment. So, and look, it's not the case. As you said, you're the Blitz Wolf, and the camera you've got from when you went overseas will do the trick. People can see you and who you are, and as long as they can hear and see you, you can, people will get a feel for you and your brand. So I think there's
100%.
something, important about that. So there's no real excuses, and this thing as well. Like, it's crazy what it can do. So
it's fantastic.
Yeah. So it's I think it's getting out of that mindset as well, that you do need all that fancy stuff. It is nice, but it's not the be all and end all. And
no, and you can always grow your kit. That's the same thing as when I first started getting into makeup. One of the things that I felt a need to do was continuously get the best stuff and the best makeup and the best carrier case and all of this stuff. And in reality, you're doing the same thing. It's just, yes, the quality of makeup or the quality of your equipment is going to evolve as you evolve. And you don't always need the best stuff straight up, because if you can do the work, if you can get your message across, if what you're doing is good and you're using your skill anyway, you can edit, you can change things, and you can make what you've done that little bit better each time. And I think when I first started doing, that video series that I did on my camera, I put so much pressure on myself to get it done and to get it done perfectly that, I didn't know the eye level thing. I didn't know the lighting. I didn't have a microphone. I just whacked my camera on. I was like, all right, I'm going to just stare at it and see how I go. And it was crap. It was so bad. But what happened was I ended up filming one day, and I was like, you know what? It's not exactly what I wanted. So the next day I put on the same outfit and I tried it again, and it worked. And it was just, even if, I think one of the things that I really do want to drive home is a lot of people that I talk to who do know the effects of video and do know the importance of putting your personal brand out there and putting your own voice out there, but they are scared, because me too, every time I put on a video, I go blank. And it's this weird, I've got so many things in my head. I go, oh, that is the best thing I've ever thought of. I need to get that on camera. Yeah. And then I turn it on and go, what? And I just lose it. It's just gone, because I have these weird thoughts of, what are you talking about? What are you looking like? What were you going to say next? Yeah. But I think when you start, like, you set yourself up to know that may happen, especially when you're first starting to get into video, that you allow that buffer to say, I'm probably going to stuff up. I'm probably, this isn't going to be the best video I'm ever going to make. And then allow yourself to record it again, to continue doing that, because everything doesn't have to be done in that one shot. And I think everyone puts so much pressure on themselves, like, oh, if I don't get this one, video's not for me.
Nick, when you do a video, how many times do you stuff up?
I don't want to admit on camera.
I just want to talk about it.
Yeah, I still, you know, I think we're going to put a video out shortly about B-roll, and I recorded that, and it was the same thing. It took me the whole bloody day to film because I started editing it and then was like, no, what I'm saying is bullshit there. Like, I don't feel qualified enough to say it. And then I'm like, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So I agree with you, Sarah. I think it actually becomes part of the process, isn't it? You actually get better at making videos by just making them and knowing in 12 months time, in 2 years time, they're going to be vastly different. Do you think from your perspective with your experimentation so far, have you felt that getting into that mindset you just mentioned of forgiving yourself mistakes and the fact that it's not set in stone, it's not a live broadcast, you can go back and redo it if you want. How do you think that's kind of impacted your own creativity and approach to how you're now going to start making videos?
Sorry for the interruption, folks, but if you're enjoying this podcast and you want to learn how to make great videos for your business, don't worry, we've got you covered. We've put together a 32-page ebook that's packed full of gold to get you out of the blocks. So head over to No Time Manual Skill and get started. Back to the podcast.
Yeah. I can feel my confidence building, and I think that is definitely the main point. Like, when I first started, or even just going on stories on Instagram, because I knew, and everyone knows, that's what you need to do to be able to create that rapport with people. Everyone knows that, but the doing part is the hard bit. And it is really simple to say, like, oh, you just got to do it, which is true, but you might have to do it 10 times and then you just save the one you like. You know, it does build up, and sometimes you might get it on the first go and that's amazing. But I think with me, I remember the first time I went on stories or I created a video, and my God, like, awful. But every single one since then is built up that, okay, I know that the lighting's better this way, or I know that this angle's better for me, or if I project my voice, it needs to be a little bit more so because I don't have a microphone on me, or, you know, it's just, and you can see the difference in those first few videos in terms of my confidence and being able to project myself that little bit more. And I think it's definitely that starting point that people need to get over, because if you continue doing it, your confidence is going to grow. And that's for everything, you know, even with video, being able to show up on summits or workshops or podcasts, because it's the same concept of showing up and showing that rapport and, you know, showing that human element, that those little pieces, like a puzzle, they'll continue to build up into something bigger.
It's a weird thing, the mindset behind it, because it is the biggest hurdle, is that first getting over it. And then once you actually get into that flow, you're sailing. But it's that first initial speed bump, I think, for most businesses is there can be a negative mindset behind it. They can internalize it and really give themselves a hard time. And there's many factors that can, and it's like, even I don't have a 4K camera. Like, you know, there's excuses can pop into the fray as well. Yeah. So there's
everything, you know, oh, I don't have the best of the best. Or when I was doing makeup, I was like, oh, I cannot do that look because I don't have that specific brush. And I'm like, what a crap excuse. Like, that is just, you can do it. And it may not be the best, but the principle is still there and you're still driving home the message, you know. And I think as well, when you kind of also not give you that time to make the excuses for yourself, the best videos that I've done is I've set myself up. So I've got myself ready. I whack the camera on and I go, oh shit, I'm recording now. And I've got to do it because I haven't given myself that time to, you know, pump myself out of it. Yeah. I just sit down, start talking. If I screw up, I can take another shot. But I'm not allowing myself that time to talk myself out of it, because ultimately I will be like, oh, I don't know the structure of this video at all. I don't know the message I'm going to be doing. Oh, the lighting's off. Oh, don't have the audio, and all these negative things.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point there. And it's a video that we've got to do, Nick, is like, I know if I need to go for a run, I put my shoes beside my bed and I get out and I don't give myself a chance to say it's minus 30 or whatever, it's too cold. So I put them on and I go. So I think we could do a video, Nick, around just actually having a crack, but without letting all the excuses sink in. Because as soon as they do, that's it, you're done.
Yeah.
So
it's like a paralysis.
That's a really good point that we can actually probably work on something with people because there's, like all the courses and stuff that we're going to do, there's no point if no one does them. Like you can still talk yourself out of doing it all. A lot of people would rather go, I've got to go get a tetanus shot than rather go do a video. Do you know what I mean? Or they'd rather go through something.
That's the same as public speaking.
Yes.
It's like one of the, I don't know the stats, but it's like the worst fear next to
death. Yeah.
Dying.
It's just, and I find that bizarre because it's really weird. I'm fine to get up on a stage and talk and do a workshop, and that is no problem whatsoever to me. As soon as you turn the video on, I go, it's really weird. And they go, Sarah, just keep talking. I go, what? It's a really weird mindset thing.
Yeah.
And I think definitely do a video on that because it's the, setting everything up. And I've got to kind of pump myself up the day before and then set everything up. So I go, there's no excuses now, Sarah. Like it's done. You've created a mess of video. Like this is happening.
Yep.
And then just the doing part. And that is the hardest part because with anything, originally when I started my coaching, it was centered towards goal management because I always used to see people set goals and that was it. They go, oh, that's nice. That's a someday goal. I'm going to write it down. But they didn't actually manage it and take action on it. And that's why people never got to where they wanted to go because they didn't do the doing part. They didn't take action. And they would stop before they got to that epic place of creating something because it was negative beliefs or, other people telling them things or, things that they've heard or even just comparing themselves to other people. Because, if one of the, not that I'm doing enough already, but I want to create a podcast and create my own YouTube channel. And instantly I look at other YouTubers who are already out there going, oh, my videos are going to be crap.
Yeah.
But the message is probably going to be even better. So it's just a matter of, you know what? I'm going to get better at this. I'm going to get Nick to edit them. I'm going to like something's got to go right in that scenario.
Yeah.
And if it can make me look good, it's fine. But do you know what I mean? It's just, I think definitely people need to, and it is a mindset thing and it's definitely something that you learn over time. But if you don't plant the seeds initially, then they're not going to grow and people aren't going to actually build that up and get to that next step.
Mm-hmm.
Well said.
That's
so
definitely.
The flip side of that now is that you can go to your Instagram page, for example, Sarah, I think everyone should follow you because I think it's a really good example of just how to build your personal brand. You are bloody funny and you take the piss out of yourself. And, but it's interesting because Instagram stories, you did speak on that. Instagram story is a form of video. It doesn't matter whether you're putting that in, you're taking a picture and letting that play out for 10 seconds, you're making a meme out of it, you're putting a GIF in there, or you're actually making video content. I'd love to hear with the videos you have recorded so far, your Instagram stories that you just seem to be slaying. What's been the reactions? What kind of engagement do you get by putting yourself on camera and just being yourself?
The amount of DMs I get after those type of videos, because there's a vast difference between me driving home a point and educating my audience on a certain thing that I think they should be doing, and me just showing up as me and being really dorky. the amount of DMs I get from people going, oh, I wish I could do that. Or, oh, it's so funny. I do the same thing. And I go, well, why don't you show me that you do it? Why don't you do it? You know, why don't you show your audience that you can do that as well and showcase your personality? And I have seen a few of the people I'm following start to do that, which is really, really cool, because they're like, oh, I can do that as well. And one of the main things that I want to get across in my coaching and my personal brand is when I actually put out that blooper reel, which I got so much engagement from because people were able to see me, and, you know, that's what you see in the blooper roll is me all the time, you know.
Yeah.
Looks like I've got no idea what I'm doing. I say bloody hell a lot. And I take the piss out of myself, and that's just me. That's how I've always been. I've never been, you know, cut and dry and put in a box. And I did get some, and usually an older crowd say, oh, don't you think that might tarnish your professionalism, or don't you think that might, you know, drive people away? And I straight away, the negative thought pattern was like, oh shit, you're right, I have to take it down. But then I was like, you know what? You're not my client.
Yes.
You wouldn't pay me, you know? And I think listening to, yes, sometimes you can take other advice on board, but in reality, if you're showcasing who you are as a person and your values and your mission and like your sense of humor, that's what is going to attract people. And that's like, I had past clients say, I am so proud of you for showcasing your personality. And I was like, oh, that's so nice, because they know that I'm like that. They know that I'm like that on coaching calls, that I take the piss out of myself, that, you know, we could have a beer together. That's the kind of relationship I have. And it's so much more effective to be able to showcase that. And I think as I go into it a lot more, I'm definitely going to be showcasing that, because that's the only thing I want to get across is you can be authentic, you can be unique, and that's what's going to get clients to come to you.
I think at the moment, Sarah, like it's just not the norm yet to be authentic. There's still this stigma to be professional. Between 9 and 5,
Yes.
you have to wear the suit. You've got to button up the top button. You've got to do your tie up. And if you're, I don't know, a real estate agent or a florist, you've got to speak in a certain way or a certain tone.
Yes.
Or be utterly professional. You don't burp, you don't fart, you're professional, right? That's just not the case, you know. So it's the fact that you've got people telling you these things and like, good on you. It should just be the norm. It's like, you know, just
and that's
by
what baffled me.
Yeah. So, but even just by you talk, Nick, you're probably the same. But I say to clients, embrace your inner dickhead, embrace your inner dork, right? And Nick, if you're gonna do the next video on what we were just talking about before, I'm gonna do the embrace the dork video, okay? Because that's what
I love that.
No, I'll fight you on that. I'll fight you on that.
Yeah, I saw Nick's face and he was like, F off, that's mine.
But it's endearing, and people can empathize with it, because we're all dorks in some way, you know. We all nerd out on something, or we're all passionate and driven about something that, but as long as, I think, you know, having a bit of a laugh at yourself as well, you know, people find that endearing. So yeah, I think it's a good trait to have.
There's two parts to that, because I think there's a definite hang up on the platform that you do use and the tone that you're coming across, because you've got to think about who's on that platform, what frame of mind they're in, and the mindset that they're in. So Instagram, I come for a good time. You know, I'm kind of hanging out with my friends. It's social media. It's meant to be social. LinkedIn, they're in a different mindset. However, that doesn't mean that you still can't showcase your personality. It doesn't mean that you have to put on a shirt and tie, you know, but you do have to think about where you are and the mindset of where they are, what they're doing at that moment, because it's totally different, you know. But again, like, showcasing your personality doesn't have to be hard, because I think I went through a big stage of like, oh, does that mean I have to be really loud? Does that mean I have to be this? It's just be yourself, how you would be with your friends. And for me, I know, because I was trying to go back in my head before the podcast of who I've actually bought from and what made me buy from them, because our buying behavior is ultimately going to be very similar to our client. And I was thinking about it and I thought, I haven't bought like a high ticket item from someone that I haven't actually either heard on a podcast or watched in a video.
Yeah.
And that's just because I haven't, like, if I don't have that, I don't know who they are. Why should I invest my money if I don't know who you are? And then I thought, oh shit, well, obviously that means I need to do that then, because I was like, oh man. But it's true, because I was thinking back to every single high ticket thing that I bought. I have built that relationship. They haven't known that I exist, but I've built that relationship with them by probably the first touch point was listening to a podcast. The second might be they did a collaboration with someone. The third might be I followed them on Instagram because I liked their content and I got to know them from them showing up as themselves. Yeah. I've never bought from someone who was really uppity and, never showed their face or only did videos because they felt like they needed to and it was just cut and paste. I've never done that. And that's just, I guess that's my buying behavior, but I need to feel like I know the person and that they resonate with me and my values as well.
Awesome.
I like it.
Well said. So Sarah, you've just jammed a ton of little info and content into a very short space of time there. So we are about to run out of time. So I would love people to come and find you. So where can they go to find out more about you and what you do?
All of my socials are Sarah K Coaching, and my website is sarahkenyon.com.au.
Awesome. Sarah, thanks so much for spending some time with us.
Thanks, Sarah.
Bye.
Thanks, Sarah.
Guys, don't forget to subscribe and check out some of our other episodes of Pixel Peepers. We'll see you soon for the next episode.